What we teach and talk about is looking at the entire attack and understanding all of the different pieces of it and how they all tie together, and that little hack or scam is only like a sliver of the entirety of what's going on. So if you can understand the beginning parts, you can actually prevent that scam or hack from even happening in the first place.
Hi, we are Learn Online Security Podcast, and I'm Tamara Michèle, your host. I'm here with Richard Bankert and also Chris Howell. How are you doing, both of you?
Doing wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonders.
So today we are going to be discussing a hack versus an attack, and what the difference is and what that means when it comes to security.
Absolutely. The biggest thing that people get caught up on, if we could talk about a hack, is everyone talks about hacks. They talk about scam. They talk about, being stolen from.
Being taken advantage of.
Taken advantage of, whatever it is. And they talk about that moment when something happened. And what we teach and talk about is looking at the entire attack and understanding all of the different pieces of it and how they all tie together, and that little hack or scam is only like a sliver of the entirety of what's going on. So if you can understand the beginning parts, you can actually prevent that scam or hack from even happening in the first place. So
I remember you saying kind of before, it has a lot to do with accessibility. And you had talked, it was quite a while ago, but it stuck with me about how scammers, hackers, attackers, these people that have these nefarious plans, they're fishing. They've got a net and they're out, it's not just a fishing rod. They're like netting in the ocean and they're just hoping to grab whoever is in that vicinity. And there's ways, and you also said that they have sort of a sandbox and there's rules that they have to stay within to have access to you. So there's certain things that we can do that will help us. It's preventative, right? Not being as accessible to them.
Yes, but within that accessibility and everything is understanding how the game is played.
Okay.
So if we use the analogy of football is my prime example for this just because of the way that footballers talk. So American football, that is. So anytime pro footballers are talking about, hey, this is the game, this is how I prepare for the game, they always talk about studying film.
Okay.
Film watching is like a core staple of football specifically. I know it's a part of other sports as well.
We're seeing it more like NHL. You see them after they make a play, they've got an iPad and they're watching what they just did.
Now, football, I like the analogy of football specifically because it's more like chess. And that the play stops, all the players walk around, they reset, they get in position. And so before you hit the ball, you look out at the defense or the offense, depending which side you're in. You look out and you see what position everyone is in. And based on the positioning of the players, the way that they're moving, the things that they're doing, really good players will start to see patterns and they'll be, oh, this is the play that they're running. We'll call an audible and we'll do the counter to that play. And so if you can understand the plays that are happening, understand the attack as a whole, then you can start to see those red flags pop up. Be like, I recognize that. I've seen that before. I understand what's going on here. And then you can, mount the appropriate defense for that particular play that's being played against you.
Okay, so, because this is interesting, because it's like, when you're talking about this stuff, I think about, for me, would be like travel. So when I'm, especially traveling alone. So as a female, I've traveled to Europe, I've traveled to New York. There is sort of a kind of a set of rules that I play within to keep myself safe. I'm not out the wee hours of the night. I'm not, I don't drink because I don't want those opportunities to get out of hand or to make poor decisions or that kind of stuff. What I think is interesting is that you start learning and behaving a lot differently when you're in a situation where you feel, I guess vulnerable, I guess is the word I would use, right? Because when you're by yourself and you can read people, like it's weird because when you're with a group of friends or you're with other people, you won't notice the things going on along in that room or on the sidewalk or a city street or wherever you are. But when you're walking alone, I make sure I know where I'm going. I make sure I have 3 ways of escape. I make sure that if I see somebody coming this way, that I know which way I'm going to go and I know where I won't go. Right? Certain times of the day, crowded places. Like, so I think about that a lot. Like even like in a restaurant, I'm always back to the wall. I sit so I can watch what's coming in the door and have a plan. Where are my exits? And so I think about this a lot when it comes to cyber attacks. It's a learned behavior. So you're basically studying and learning a behavior and a set of. Go ahead.
So what is your trigger that heightens your awareness?
My trigger? So first of all, being alone. So when I'm alone and I'm traveling, okay, like my husband's 6'2". When I'm out, always feel safe, even if he's not with me. I look at that, and then when you're by yourself, I'm 5'2", and you're traveling alone. Okay, you've got to look after your money. People want your money. There's pickpockets. They want your passport, right? Because if they have your passport, then you have nowhere to go, right? You're basically very, very vulnerable. And then, like, where do you leave it? How do you keep it safe? Can I trust the person I'm staying with? I'm at this Airbnb. I'm at that Airbnb. And so then you do develop relationships, which, we've had a few conversations about that in the podcasts about like the value of relationships. And then you have to learn to trust people, and you really have to go with your gut instincts. Right. And so then it becomes like a very.
But where does your
reactive.
gut instinct come from? So in our football analogy.
Bad things happening.
Bad things happening. Yeah. But we look at our football analogy and we say, we have seen this play before and we understand the direction that we're going down. Yeah. We understand the path that we're on. And when it comes to attacks, so social engineering is what we're focused on. And so with any attack that happens, there's the beginning of the attack and then the goal at the end. So I'm starting an attack. I decide what my opportunities are. Sometimes that opportunity like the whole attack may happen in 30 seconds. It's, here's an opportunity. It's a beginning. Social engineering. Boom, there's someone who's got their purse hanging off the back of a chair. Yeah. I attack, I grab, and I walk away, toss it in the dumpster, disappear. So very short attack. The flip side of that is someone who's doing a complete cyber attack, and they're doing it over months or years, where they're actually breaking into billion-dollar businesses and trying to get their databases and data and put ransomware on. And so those attacks happen.
Planning, putting people in place.
It's a much longer process. So we've got the goal of the attack at the end, the beginning of the attack, and the actual hack or scam or whatever it is over here. But this whole piece that we've got in the middle is the whole social engineering that happens. And so if we can understand those plays, we're taught these little ones over here, but if we can understand these thousands of plays that are happening over here, we can actually not even get to the attack phase.
Interesting fact on all of what we're talking about. Okay? We talk about that sliver of the hack. In most cyber attacks, that is the actual instance.
The moment.
The reality is your attackers are in your system, like Richard said, anywhere upwards of a year to a couple weeks to a few hours. They're in there quietly moving around.
Observing, gaining data, gathering
information. It's an intelligence gathering. It's like watching that video.
Schedules.
They're now watching video on you to know when am I safe to do what I'm going to do.
When are they coming and going? Right? When is the building manned? When is it not manned? When is the computer manned? When is it not? Right?
Multiple things, yeah. So it all depends on what the end goal is. And the one thing the other part of this whole attack is that they can be layered. So you have an attack with a beginning social engineering attack end goal. And I can then stack multiple attacks on top of each other. So if my goal
For the
is
same person, for different people, for the same,
Same
person.
person.
Okay.
either same person or
Or
for-
affiliates. Like there's a loophole, a way to get back in.
Let's say that my goal is to the initial attack that happens is to break into a business, and I acquire the customer list.
Okay.
I've now acquired the customer list, and maybe I sold that, or maybe I turn around and use it. Typically, it'll get sold. I pick up a list. So attack 1 happens. That's layered into attack 2, where an email goes out to the entire customer list that has perfect information that's legit about their account with the business from an email that looks like it's from the business. And away you go, you've got a layered attack. And then from that attack, they get more information, and then maybe they'll either resell that information or stage another attack. And so it's
They get more and more ingrained.
the
by
main
the
thing to
knowledge.
think about with that is that you may not be the end goal of the attack. You may be a stepping stone to get to the end goal. So in the case of one of the really big cyber attacks down south, the initial attack was actually done against an employee of the company. That employee was then used as a stepping stone to get into the main servers. And so, yes, it was against the company, but they stepped across several people in order to get there.
And the other thing about that other attack is, in order to build that attack, they performed an initial attack on a different target in the same
practice
area.
run.
A practice run to see what can we do.
A very successful practice
A
run.
very
Oh, okay, because they still did well, right?
I think they got, 50 million out of it?
30.
30 million?
Okay, this
Yeah.
is the one that we were
Pretty
talking
good
about in
payday.
Vegas, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So there's multi-layers to it. And then within a singular attack, you have beginning, social engineering, attack, and goal. And you can have this reciprocal effect at the end. A really good example of that is a romance scam.
Oh, yeah, where they keep coming back for more money.
That's right. So it's a beginning of the attack. I do all the social engineering, find my victim, find out more information about them. And the social engineering will
Exploit their
continue.
vulnerabilities.
But once you're into the system, or you're
Or you've
into the
gained
relationship, you gain trust. Then you can start to say, oh, I need this. Oh, yeah, send me $10. Oh, send me $300. Another example of that actually is a fellow I know. He received in his organization an invoice one day. And they said, hey, it's for $300 for services rendered, whatever the services were. He's like, I don't remember doing this or signing up for this or whatever. But it was due, and they kept haggling him about it and wanting him to pay it. So eventually he's like, you know what? To get rid of these people, I'll just pay the $300, and it's only $300. Doesn't matter.
Yeah,
So
it's a write-off.
yeah,
You know, as a business person, you might just
paid
think,
them, and away they went. And a week later, he got a bill, $3,000.
Thought they come back for some more,
And
right?
so they're just that reciprocal effect. And then he's
Wow.
like, oh, something's not right here.
Yeah.
And so then he asked, oh, show me a contract. And so, of course, they sent him a contract with a signature on it, because it wasn't actually a contract that he had seen or signed.
Yeah.
It was just a fictitious one. But, so those things kind of just don't work.
Yeah. So how susceptible? Like, I know there's lots of different versions of hacks and attacks, and we're talking about personally, or we're talking with businesses.
Mm-hmm.
How susceptible? Like, how common, I guess, is this as far as bigger businesses? Because it's like, it's a lot of work.
It's
Like it's like a
constant.
job, right? It's a
Yeah.
career. I guess there are career hackers and stuff, right, that are doing this, but you also need good people. You need somebody that's smooth, that can, that can land like,
Well,
if you talk to a
that's why-
scammer on the phone, like they land on their feet and they already know what to say
That's
next.
why big organizations have security teams and
Okay.
people who are looking after this, and people who are teaching, a similar version to what we're teaching, but not all of them. The big thing within all that is there's a bazillion organizations that don't have that available to them. And more importantly, it's human nature. Within the whole realm of people is people tricking people. You walk into your sibling's room and somehow swindle them out of some candy or whatever
With
it
my
is.
brother, it was Monopoly money. He paid me Monopoly money.
So, but
Sorry, Johnny.
to even take that a step further, when CompTIA released Security Plus, I believe 301 in 2021, they pegged that 80% of attacks that happen, the people that are attacked, the victims, know their attackers.
Oh, and you said like have actually met them physically.
Physically,
Like they
have
physically
met them.
touched them. And I think one of you had told me
Both
this
of us
before.
have.
Yeah. And that's hard.
Physically
Like
touch them?
Physically touched them or
physically
physically been in the same space.
right. Could be sitting beside them in a cab. Could be sitting beside them on a
Right.
bus. Could be, you talk about shoulder surfing and looking at your phone and all these things, right?
Yes.
So you make yourself a target.
Yeah, you definitely do.
Or maybe it's the way you're dressed. Maybe you're dressed really smart and they're like, oh, look, this person has money and I'm going to get my hooks in there, right? Like it's interesting.
Yeah, it all depends on what the end goal is. You have to be able to trust people. And you have to understand that people do have flaws and people will make mistakes. And I believe that the majority of people are good. But there are people that do operate in a way that is unkind or unjust and are not looking out they're just looking out for themselves. And that's across every status. That you have people who are awesome and want the well-being of society. And then you have other people that are just interested in themselves. And
prey on the weak and
whatever. That is the way that society operates. And I think that it's important to give as many people the opportunity to defend themselves as we can.
If somebody feels that something's off or something's wrong or something doesn't work, that's where you guys have been really talking about like stopping, taking a pause, not being rushed into something, because a lot of these scams, they really like to mount pressure. It's like, you have to do this right now, or you know what I mean, or your computer's going to crash, or we're Microsoft and you need to do this, or right. So it's those real pressure tactics.
The three most common attacks, one is pressure, where we try to take your time away from you.
Okay.
And I use we in the general sense.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Okay.
The next common attack is a familiarity attack.
Because you know them, that you can trust them.
Exactly.
Okay.
You know them, I can trust them. Or even better yet, I know them and I know I can't trust them.
Okay.
And as funny as that sounds, I can manipulate you into something by having you have a lack of trust in me, by me putting up walls to direct you where I want you to go.
Huh.
It's that lack of trust that I can corral you to where I need you to go and do what I need you to do, versus befriending you, and it comes right back down to that timeline. If I need it to happen fast, I'd sooner have mistrust than trust. Trust takes time to build.
Okay.
The last type of common attack is an authority attack.
Oh, right. That's the CRA. You get those phone calls from like the jails,
No,
and you
it's
got
not.
a warrant.
It's not even.
It's more?
It's we've done this recently. Just walked into a place. We completely changed an access point in a building, and no one questioned us.
Huh.
No one asked what we were doing. We just
walked
went in.
like we belonged.
We were supposed to be doing it.
It was authorized.
It was
Just
authorized.
for
So
the
it was a
record,
test.
it was authorized.
It was also a test, and the people there should have stopped us and been like, "What are you
you? What are your
doing? What are you doing?
credentials?"
Why are you in the server cabinet?"
The reason why we were even called is they were hit twice previous to other contractors just walking in off the street.
Okay.
And they said, "We got to stop this. Can you test it, see if our training worked?"
Yeah. And it still didn't work.
Not
Because-
our trainings. They're
Yeah.
just
Okay.
Not our
their
training.
internal training.
Well,
Their
their-
internal
yes.
training. Did it work? And when I talked to them next, I handed them a piece of their building back.
Yes.
Physically handed
Yeah.
them a piece of their building back and said, "Yeah, no, it didn't work. We need to sit down. We need to get this figured out."
So that's fascinating, because so on top of this, like you guys, when you go somewhere, when it comes to tech stuff, you do look and know you can walk the walk, you can talk the talk, but so can these people that are there for nefarious reasons,
Oh, absolutely.
right? So that's what's interesting is like the knowing gives you a confidence that people will, they read the body language. You know, it's like when you see uniforms, right? You see a cop, everybody stands up a little bit taller. You don't really want to be noticed and you want to be polite because you don't want to give him any grift, right? Like you just
Yeah.
want to have a nice day, sir, because he's in the role of authority,
Yes.
right, in that moment, right? And his job is to maintain, peace and order and all of those things and the law. And so you just don't know sometimes, like, you'll find yourself driving on the highway and it's like a police officer passes. What's the first thing we do? We look at our speedometer. How fast am I going? Oh, no, it's fine. I'm going 99 or right.
If he passes, I think we're all right.
But like, like you behave differently when you're around authority. And I never really thought about the authority thing.
But authority even goes above and beyond that. You were a postal worker.
Yeah.
How many times did you walk into a business, drop the letters,
Yeah.
walk straight out?
Well, all the time.
And they waved at you.
Yes, of course.
So if you were sick, the next mail carrier that came in did the exact same thing.
Yeah.
As long as nobody else had been there that day.
Yeah, that's right.
It wouldn't even trip an alarm.
Yeah. Well, we had, I remember stories of like problems with like people not disposing of their uniforms properly when they retired or when
right.
were finished working with them. And like, you were not allowed to represent
No.
if you're not working for them. So
Yeah.
like if you were going to keep your work shirts or whatever, because you want to, and I still have all my stuff for,
Yeah.
junk work, painting, this and that. You had to rip off all the labels, and you
Yeah.
had to make sure there was nothing that would connect you to
No.
to
Absolutely.
your uniform, right?
Absolutely.
But your uniform itself still has it's weird. It still has an authority even without the patch.
Absolutely.
It's surprising.
This is a confession from my youth. Okay?
I would get
Allegedly,
interested
dear.
when I hear this stuff. I'm like, what's
Allegedly.
next?
allegedly, we and my friends would go out to the bar, and I was always the designated driver, and I didn't feel it was right that I, as a designated driver, why am I paying for a cover charge?
Yes.
So my friends are like, don't worry about it. And I said, I'm going to get into free. You guys watch this.
Yeah.
They're like, what? Walked over. First photo ID I had, I flipped it at him. Government liquor inspector closed the wallet, kept walking through, and the guy went, okay. And I walked in.
Yeah, because
It's
bars are
authority.
scared. But they're scared of the liquor, right? Because they never know
Well,
if there's
that's
something
exactly
awry,
it.
right? Totally, yeah.
If you look the part, sound the part, act the part,
Yeah.
you can impose your authority on anybody. And
Especially if you don't give them a chance to really react.
You don't
right?
give them a chance to react. You just keep moving. I belong there. That's an authority attack. And the part where we talked about you knew your attacker, chances are it's happened during an authority attack where the individual's come up to you, been an agent, worker, whatever, that I belong here. How dare you question me? And then they leave and you never see them again.
And so those authority attacks come as a part of them understanding how your organization runs and which authority attacks work, or by just straight up testing.
Yeah, trying it
But
out.
That's
Like a test run.
really
right?
the difference between a hack versus
and
an
then
attack.
and then they would even know maybe Sally, you can't pull a fast one on Sally, but you can pull a fast one on Christine when she's working that shift through that till because she's too busy looking at her phone or right she's distracted or right or she's timid or right, so they're going to be constantly reading all of this stuff.
Well, I was going to say the other one is the data center Romeo, dating 3 different women. They got used to seeing him in there. Authority. He belongs there.
Okay. So join us now for the heroes portion of the show. It is member part. You can subscribe on YouTube, and it's also free.